I missed what you said. Was it anything nice? Oh, good. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Mr. Reed told me to give you something valuable. So I thought I would share something that it's probably been in the makings for us at Mastery for as long as I can remember. We have 6 schools in Rhode Island. I started in true story. Started my martial arts training April 1st of 1990. Got my white belt on the 4th. It's my brother's birthday. Within 6 to 8 months, my instructor said, "Hey, I was here training every day. Would you like to come and help out?" I said, "Sure." 3 years later, he left me. His name is Paul Garcia. Some of you may know Mr. Garcia. He was my first teacher. He went to work for United Professionals. I took over the business with a partner. 3 years of martial arts training, 22 years old. We had no business running that business. I had more enthusiasm than I did knowledge. And quickly learned that about 7 years later. So we thought it was a good idea in 93 to open a new school in 94, which we did. Then we decided to do it again in 95, which we did. So we had 3 locations at that time. My partner came to me and said, "Listen, everybody thinks you're the owner. I look like the employee. I don't like that." I didn't understand what he was really saying to me at that time, being 25. What he was really saying to me was, "I'm not getting enough recognition." Had I identified that sooner, may have saved the relationship, but, oh boy. Anyhow, as it turned out, he took over the school. I decided it was good to open a 3rd school again. And then by the next year, he lost his school. I sold one, closed one, and was back to one, and made a promise I'd never have multiple locations again. Because I began running multiple locations for my needs. I don't know if anybody does this. You have one school running, making $30,000 a month. This is, early days. And you think, oh, 30 times 3, 90. More money, more money. Doesn't work out that way. Anybody have that experience? You open that second location, doesn't quite work out like that. All right, so I made a promise I'd never have multiple schools again, and here we are with 6. And so I'm going to share with you why you should do it and why you shouldn't do it. And the only reason you should open multiple schools is because you have juniors who've risen, who love what you do, love the martial arts, and they've been trained well enough to, what I'm going to share with you today, one version, the ability to communicate martial art. So everybody in this room is really good at martial arts. The gap is your ability to communicate it. That's where the struggle lies. It's not in your ability to kick, punch, or do a form, or break a board, or spar. I mean, we all can do that. The challenge lies in your ability to reproduce it. That's where the challenge lies. It's in the ability to communicate, lead, motivate, and that sort of thing. So anyhow, we now have 6 locations. We have 3 more young people within the next 24 months that could open if we wanted them to. It'll be up to them. We may expand, we may not, they may stay, so forth and so on. So let's, this is a called out leadership program. Just curious at a show of hands, who has a leadership program now that you sell? Okay, good. So whose leadership program is more martial arts, weapons, and more stuff? Raise your hand. Oh, raise your hand, because it's just about everybody. Okay, so I'm going to introduce some things to you that I've been introducing to some schools for the last 3 years about what we do. Mr. Reed wrote me into this. I think that's what he spoke about in the dialogue. I was just kind of minding my own business, doing my own thing in Rhode Island. You may have heard of that state. 45 minutes from top to bottom. In the R8, I can do it about 30. So he wrote me into this, and then we started working with some people. Mr. Quirk was one of the first people that I worked with, and in that early period, I was still trying to figure out how I was going to deliver it. My team speaks my language, but I had to figure out how I was going to be able to work with more people so that they could be more effective. So my goal today is to give you some ideas about leadership training that can improve your business, make your martial arts more valuable than the sidekick. Because to me, it was about how do I make martial arts more valuable? And for me, it's about a behavior modification. It's not what they do at your school, it's what they do at home because of your martial arts training, because of the relationship you have with them. It's what they do at school. It's what they do and go on and be in life. To me, everybody in this room can sidekick. It's a commodity. That's it. We can all do it. I mean, 17,000 schools. How many students in America? We all have a front kick. We all have a side kick. We all have a down block. We all have a high block. All right? We all have the same stuff. What makes you unique and different? So the leadership program for us is our kind of our top tier program. There was some text up top that talked about leadership, but I got married in August, and that's the lucky girl. Just kidding. That's the lucky guy. And these are my staff, all of our key people. And this picture really resonates well with me because how well is everybody dressed? You ever been to a martial arts event and see some awkward people dressed? All of my guys, Mr. Pizzol is about to be a partner at the end of the month. This young man has a potential to be in a school this year. She runs a school, he runs a school, he runs a school, and he runs a school. They're the leaders in our schools. And I'll show you some neat slides in a minute. But he'll be a partner by the end of the month. And we'll talk a little bit. I can expand on that if you like. But they started with me when they were little children. So during the holidays, I would take them to my tailor and, as part of their Christmas bonus, buy them a custom suit. And I would take them through the experience of getting fitted and having a beautiful custom suit. Because we were just talking about the movie the other day, The Kingsman. I mean, what's not to love about a gentleman who can kick a butt, right? So attire is important. Without going too much into it, church makes people dress up. Why? Puts people in what kind of state? Do you know? Different. How do you feel when you dress up? Ladies, what do you like to do? Dress up. Why? Feels good. You feel like you're not. Typically, we don't always dress up that well, so when we just feel different. So it's a key thing. When we do events at our school, all of our juniors are taught to dress up. I don't want them showing up in hoodies. That's not what I'm looking for, okay, in our culture, and I have full control of that. So anyhow, these are our staff. We had a great time. The wedding was great, and we're still married, I like to report. One other thing, by the way. See down the bottom here? This is our 25th year in business, so I made a logo for it, and we're promoting that. It's on our uniforms. It's on everything we do. So and in Rhode Island, that's an amazing accomplishment, never mind to be in the martial arts, but we're using it. It's on all of our T-shirts. It's just on everything we're doing. So we're doing raffle rewards. I'm giving away a cruise at the end of the year. A Disney trip to 4 as a raffle reward. Every month we're doing some kind of event, and it's to promote in the 25th year of our business. Okay, how to use martial arts to create leaders. Again, we go back to our instructors here. And since we were little, I said, okay, all of our guys can sidekick. We can all punch. We can all kick. How do I use that to do something different? So as they started to come up through the ranks, they wanted to help out. So I had to figure out a better way to get them involved so that they could be excellent when they helped out, right? So it's about creating leaders. For me, there's how many black belts in America? There's a lot. How many of them can teach? I'm not sure. We had a couple conversations over the weekend is anybody familiar with Savat? Savat has 2 gloves. They have 3 different versions of the glove. One glove is for teaching, and one glove is for your ability to fight. It's like their ranking system. So typically in the martial arts, we only have a ranking system for what? Physicality. We don't have a ranking system for communication. So I'm going to give you a distinction here. So I didn't create this, and a lot of the things, by the way, ABC, 10 digits, all the colors. You didn't create them, I didn't create them, but how we use them is unique to our experience. We all have 24 hours, so forth and so on. So, with that being said, you'll see that our instructors have collars, and your belt is your ability, or it shows your ability to do physical martial arts. So if you're a black belt in your system, that means that they can do X, Y, Z in your style, and they're representing that. The collar represents their ability to teach the martial arts. Let me say that again. The collar represents their ability to communicate the martial arts the way you want it delivered, with the structure, with the life skills, with your class plan, in the environment. And we start beginning that process at white belt. Now, when we introduce people to leadership training and they see our white belts in the class, you think, or most people think, raise your hand if this is you, I'm going to start my black belts at leadership training because they're black belts now. Raise your hand if you think that way. I think you're lying. So when people see us enroll people, you used to, and it's too late. I don't have the graph here now that I think about you. I should have put it up here, but it's too late. We find that when we enter people at the white belt level of leadership, we begin to train them differently. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So The best leadership skill that's developed through our leadership program is one thing. Anybody know what it is? It's the first thing that we begin with. Who wants to guess? Mr. Farjan, what is it? Okay, that's the method. Communication. We start with that. So what's more valuable to a parent? The ability for a child to stand up and deliver? It's working? Thank you. No, the battery's dead. Oh, thank you. So what's more valuable to a student or to a parent? The ability for a child to do a sidekick or do a form in front of people, or to communicate in public? Communicate in public, sir. Hands down. I mean, hands down. So I like to do a little exercise. So who probably has never done it before? Marshall, well, you can't do it. You can't do it. Do you own a school, sir? Do you own a school? Okay. Do you want to interact with me? Sure. You can stay right there. It's fine. So here's a question, and it's a little if this, then that kind of thing. From a student's development perspective, what's most important? I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You ready? Forms or weapons? Forms. Good. How about sparring or board breaking? Forms or sparring? Okay. Sparring or an 8-year-old's ability to stand up and communicate in front of a class?
He's old school.
All right. But he's still struggling with it. It's okay.
I'm trying to figure out what's the right answer.
There is no right answer. It's personal for you. Well, sparring or the ability for an 8-year-old to stand up and talk in public?
I think it's easy teaching sparring.
Okay. So what we found is that the ability to communicate is more valuable to a parent. We did a survey on my student page. We have about 2,000 people. And I asked them, what's most valuable to you as a parent? Sparring, forms, breaking, weapons, self-defense. I didn't put the leadership in there. Guess which one came in dead last? Self-defense. The thing that you're promoting. We're the best self-defense teachers this side of the Mississippi. Nobody cares. Not for the parents. Okay? We have a simple solution. You and I were talking about the other day. My idea for self-defense is this. I want our beginner students, when they graduate to their first black belt level, to be able to defend themselves, get this, against somebody who doesn't know how to fight. Big accomplishment, right? Who can handle somebody who just wildly attacks them. Second black belt, because we teach the John Fan in the black belts, I want them to be able to defend themselves against somebody who's had some training. Some training. And then the third level, obviously our instructors, I want them to be able to defend themselves against. You see these commercials, GMC, professional grade. Right? I want instructors to be professional grade. But I'm not delusioned about what I can make an 8-year-old be able to do. And I think there's a lot of delusion about what you think your 8-year-olds can do, or what you think your 12-year-olds can do, right, given the environment. I'm just going to switch this just a minute, please. Okay, all right, we're back. So, we've identified that leadership is about communication. So we're going to go through just quickly how we do it. But I know a lot of people are teaching leadership, and it's a word that's been passed around in our industry for a long time. And typically what it means is just more stuff. More fighting, more sparring, more breaking, more weapons, more something. Maybe you bring Roland Osborne in to do hyper, and that's just more curriculum. Okay, there's nothing wrong with doing all of that stuff, but for me, leadership means something. And I want to have a training program that's consistent with the word so that they match, right? So anyhow, these are, too funny. This is, well, I'll show it to you in a minute. Anyhow, they're still with me today, is why they're on this slide. All right, slide 2. You can see here, you see this kid? Which one is he?
First one in the middle on the left.
That's him. Looks different, no? See this nerd? That's him. This young lady, she just had a baby. This young man, he got married New Year's Eve, that's him. The 5th instructor is not with it, but these 5 individuals came from my original school. 5 of them, still with me today. each one of them are leading and managing a school. So a lot of people are guilty that your staff training for most people is Craigslist. Okay, it's not my preference, but for a lot of people, you're looking to fill the void that you're lacking because you're not sure how to create the development from within. And if you could, you would never hire from Craigslist again. Because it's, what's better, a student that's been training with you 15 years that you have a relationship with, or someone who wants a job from Craigslist? There's no brainer. The relationship is intact. It's different. I was talking to Rudy Mick the other day. So a lot of what he spoke about, it really resonated with me, and a lot of it, kind of internally, I do, but I can't reproduce it or explain how I do it. Because I was joking with them. I said, my staff and I speak Sasquatch. It's a language that we know that nobody else knows and we can't replicate. That's the problem with it, right? Because so my first tier is very good. We're just now getting to that next tier is different. So I thought this was an interesting photo as I was going through them this morning, that here they are still with us today. Do you guys have students that have been with you since they were little? Are they working for you? This guy makes about $130,000 a year. When he becomes partner at the end of the week, it'll be into the double figures. So I'm calling it prospect to partnership. I took him from a 10-year-old kid who was thinking about martial arts, changed his life. In fact, he's changed many lives. For those of you who've been out to Rhode Island and have seen Mr. Bazzillo. And now I'm about to change his life again. So to me, that's the full progression of life. Just disclosure. I haven't taught a scheduled martial arts class in 18 years. You want me to say that again? I've been working about 5 hours a week for 18 years. Want me to say that again? 18 years, not a month. So I've been doing this for a long time secretly, minding my own business, doing my own thing, and then Mr. Reed went and screwed the whole thing up for me. All right, so 3 things we focus on. This is one of our black belt testings. We test about 160 black belts twice a year. This is just a quick photo that I took. But the 3 things that we focus on, I want you to write down our leadership is this. Stand tall, eye contact, clear voice. 3 things that we use the martial arts to begin teaching early white belts. Early. Those are 3 things that I see black belt instructors who can't do. Or could be better, I should say it. That's the positive way to say it. You could be better at it. So we do those 3 things early. And I'm going to do an exercise with you in a few minutes. Everybody on stage, by the way. And I'm going to take you through something that I introduced it to Randy Reed 3 years ago. And he went back and started teaching. And he called me every single day, bragging about, this stuff's the best stuff I've ever seen. And he was so motivated because he had a new picture of what martial arts could be. Something more beyond knocking the guy out. Right? And it had a lot of value. And he appreciated, he could see the change in the kids almost within a month. It's amazing. So, and I know some people that I've worked with are here tonight. So, 3 things. What are the 3 things? Everybody say stand tall, eye contact, clear voice. So when we do feet together, step, I mean, we're going to do something in a minute to get you to practice that. And then we do judging of it. So for me, you can take an adult in your school. My instructor is an adult instructor, teacher JKD, and he has adults come and go all the time. They have not had one adult convert from being a student to being a leader, to being an instructor, to being a full-time, to being a partner. Now, here's the problem. What's the problem with the kids market? Anybody know?
Quick turnaround.
Slow. It's slow. Lucky for me, when I was 25, those 5 individuals I showed you earlier stayed with me, right? They stayed with me. So now my goal with them is to help them find their 5. That's my goal. And they're young enough, they're in their early 30s, late 20s, early 20s. Our youngest instructor, she's 25, just a couple days ago. She has an army of people working right now with her. Not working for her, but training at that next tier level. An army. And it's like 80% girls and 20% boys. Smart boys. But because she's a strong young leader, she attracts whom? More of the young ladies, right? Do you find that as well at your school? Yeah, because you're a strong leader. They want to follow you, right? So those 3 things, stand tall, eye contact, and clear voice. So practicing communication. Here's the thing. we do a thing called triangulation, which everybody knows what a triangle looks like. Why don't we, who wants to help me? We're just going to demonstrate triangulation. All right, Mr. Spiker, coming up. Sarah, you want to do it too? Yeah, one more. Thank you. You say 6 minutes? 10? Just got a bonus of 4 minutes. All right, so this is what the drill looks like. They're 8 years old, and we're going to use martial arts. So we'll let you be the leader. You two can be the followers. We'll do it side by side. Feet together, set, bow. Yes, I can. Horse stance, middle punch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Rotate to the left.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, I want you to set. And bounce it. Yes, I can. Jump into sitting stance for the punch out. We're going to single punch. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. And set. And bounce. Yes, I can. And let's switch. Your turn. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can.
Horse stance.
Yes, ma'am. 1, aya, 2, aya, 3, aya. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I can.
So, by the way, here, a third layer to it. Go ahead, sir.
Sir.
I want you to judge his body language and his tone, or judge his eye contact. So we can add so many layers to this training. I'm going to give you kindergarten right now, so make sure that they look good.
All right. Set. 1, set, bow. Yes, I can. Horse stance.
Notice his voice is strong.
And punch. Aya, 2, aya, 3, aya. Tension. Yes, sir. And bow. Yes, I can.
So rotate to the left, come back. So stage 1. Stage 2, we'd add something. What do you think we might add?
Praise.
Huh?
Praise.
Praise? We could add praise, but more MIT. Leadership students. What's the big thing at mastery?
Personal touch.
What is it? Life skill. It's a life skill. What's our life skill this cycle?
I know what your life skills is. Mine's excellent.
Discipline. Good. Discipline is what?
No, what it's just about to start.
To do what you know you should do. So we're going to add discipline to it. So imagine an 8-year-old child, stand up, bow, go ahead.
Set. And bow. Say yes, I can.
Discipline. Say discipline.
Yeah. Discipline. Say discipline. Discipline. To obey what's right. To obey what's right. And set. And bow. Yes, I can.
Horse stance. Good. And so we would.
Oh, you would.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. So she would say discipline to obey what is right. Horse stance. 1, 2, 3. Feet together, set, bow, rotate. Discipline to obey what is right. Ready, set. Horse stance. 1, 2, 3. Rotate. And then we would just keep adding. We would take a class of 30, break them into 10 sections, and who would be training right now? Everybody. So we all use judging in tournaments. So he does his form, and I say to you, you're going to judge his feet, you're going to judge his hands, I'm going to judge the overall. Let's go. Well, why can't we do that communication, body language, tone, tempo, speed, sincerity? I mean, we can identify anything we want to identify, so who's winning in this training?
Everybody.
This is what we call zero downtime, at a higher level than just martial arts class. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys. So how do you use martial arts to bring out something more? And that's an example of how we do it. Okay, so what happens is, here's the way, I'm going to give you a little tip on our leadership program. We have a 30-minute leadership class plan that's taught every day, Monday through Thursday, and we sandwich it between the beginners and the advanced. So if I'm a beginner student, I take my class, stay for leadership. If I'm an advanced student, I come to leadership, take my class. So we have to make it convenient. Parents are busy, you know this already. It's 30 minutes long. So the bow-in, who has a way that you begin your class every day exactly the same way? May lightning strike you now. Good. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters that it matters. Okay? So if it's not consistent, then it can't be replicatable. Okay, so now the warm-up. Our warm-up for beginners is an 8-week warm-up. It changes twice. Miss Schumann, who's not here right now, but we've borrowed some of her ideas and what she's doing with the static and her exercise. If you know what she's doing, we borrowed some of those into our warm-up. So all of our students know what the warm-up is. So leadership class bows in. By the way, when everybody's lined up on the back floor, I could walk around the room and say, okay, Mr. Farjan, you're going to open class. And he's a leadership student. He comes running up, bows everybody in, everybody lines up, and then he begins the creed, turn to the parents. Who bows the parents in at the school? We do. You do now. Our class turns around, face the parent, asks the parents to stand. We bow in, and then we do a student creed. And we make them stand up during it. If you're going to be in our house, you're going to be involved. which is something that we do a really good job of. We get parents involved with our classes all the time. And I could talk about that if I get 11 minutes. So, so imagine for a minute somebody gets to warm up the class during leadership. Okay? A regular martial arts class, the instructor stands out front and tells everybody what to do. A leadership class, you become the facilitator. It changes, it shifts. So now the kids are totally involved in delivering the class for themselves. Make sense? So the warm-up, somebody does the warm-up, he finishes, he comes off, boom, I point to someone else. Jen comes up, she does the warm-up, point to someone else, Mr. Reed. We do about 6 people get to be involved at the warm-up so that they practice what? Being in front of people and getting rid of that fear. That's why we do it. That's it. Step 1. I think people overestimate how much they can do in a day and underestimate how much they can get done in a year. Okay, I think we're unrealistic sometimes. So bow in, one person bows in, warm up, about 5 to 6 people. Triangulation. Who? Everybody. Yeah, everybody. Then after triangulation, we go to, we use XMA musical forms. Just a little side secret. We have bow, comma, sword, empty hand that we teach our forms to. It's musical. I think June Rhee deserves the credit for this because people love music. And our forms are, you turn the music on, and they're standing there waiting for that first beat. And when it hits, bang, they go. It's not an instructor telling them to go. It's a more powerful way to teach. My daughter's 20 months old, and when the Mickey song comes on, that hot dog, she goes like this. She doesn't know anything about dance. It's in all of us, okay? You're dancing when nobody's looking. Don't tell me you're not, okay? So I think it's a mistake not to have music in the forms. That we talked about for years, taking our regular Black Belt Club programs and putting music to them because it speeds up learning. The more engagement, the more attention you can get from your students. When we're at a high emotional level, learning goes up fast, and the duration of how much we retain it for is lengthened as well. We know this already. So it's a mistake for you to never teach a motivating class again. You're wasting your time, the parents' money, and the kids' time. So if you know this, shame on you for delivering a low emotional class. Oh, what happened there? And so the thing about the musical forms, by the way, we just did a demo in front of 10,000 people the other day. The Providence College Friars halftime show. We had 10,000 people. They had friends messaging me who went there, who are alumni, went to the game. They're like, oh, you guys look great. So we have the video of it. So we have 12-year-old kids in front of 10,000 people doing the XMA forms to music. And so raise your hand if you've been called to do a demonstration and then on Wednesday night you're frantically trying to put something together. Raise your hand. Everybody in the room. Our leadership forms are in the leadership program. So we could say, hey, Saturday at 2 o'clock, we need 5 bows, 5 sword, 5 comma, 5 empty hand. We show up at our music in a box and we hit play. Staff already knows what to do. Why? Did the training already. It was part of their program. It's a built-in byproduct. Now, of course, our demo team, it's expanded upon, and they're much better. I know some of you have been out to Rhode Island, you've seen our weapons training, you see the beginners, and you're like, they're bopping themselves, and it's terrible, because they're beginners. Our expectation for them is very low. But by the way, when a 6-year-old is swinging a chuck, guess what he feels like? You seen that Bruce Lee movie? With the scrapes, that's what that 6-year-old kid feels like. You can't tell them any different, by the way. So to them, it's special. And then when you watch our intermediates and they get better, you watch our black belts, they get better, and then you watch my instructors, and they're incredible. So again, I'm not delusional about how fast we can create talent. It takes time. I'm just not delusional about it, all right? So that's how that works. Whoop. So I wasn't sure if I was going to give this, but I decided to. That's a warning to tell you this is super valuable. Raise your hand if you have a graduation leadership program again. Okay. Raise your hand if you have a black belt program or a master's club program. All right, it's going to be a trick question. Ready? How do you know when somebody graduates a black belt program, black belt club program? Who said that? When they get their black belt. Does everybody agree with that? Who has a leadership program? How do you know when they graduate that? But before that, yeah, we have a leadership program, and they're going around in circles. Well, when do they graduate? Well, there's no disembarkment point. You just keep going around this thing until you keep paying me enough money until you decide to quit. There needs to be a progression. I mean, our culture has it. Go to school, graduate. Go to school, graduate. Go to school, go to junior high, graduate. Go to high school, graduate. I mean, it's been taught early. So we came up with a process, and I've been talking about it for a while. Wait for you to take your camera out. Look at it. That's aggravating, isn't it? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, okay, all right. So, this is what we came up with. This is its second year. It is not perfect, and everything is always subject to change. So let me just quickly go through it because I'm running out of time. 100 leadership classes. What's going to happen if a child participates in 100 leadership classes? He gets to warm up the class, he gets to bow in the class, he gets to do triangulation 100 times. What's going to happen? His ability to speak in front of public will be what? Or better than it was, and that's our goal. I don't know how good it will be, but I know every time a child gets in front of a group, has more confidence. That's my goal, right? Second thing is 100 SWAT classes. We have a SWAT program. If you know, there's different variations of this. So once they get 100 leadership classes, we give them a star for every 10 classes. When they have 10 of them lined up, they can start to take SWAT. SWAT means they can take a class lower than them, and their only job is to be a role model, not a teacher. Not ready to do that yet. Okay, they just stand by the other kids, be encouraging, be helpful. They have to do that for 100 hours. So we're 200 hours into this requirement. I wanted this program to be like a mini Eagle Scout idea. Not like an Eagle Scout, but in our own way, I wanted it to be a graduation process. So the third thing is life skills. We have 6 of them in our school, and they have to complete the booklets. So that's the next thing. Life skill presentation. As part of the graduation, this young man took his honesty life skill, and he goes to his teacher, Mrs. Smith, I'm in the leadership program at Mastery, and it's one of my requirements to share Mastery's life skill of honesty with my classmates. May I have 20 minutes with this class? After the teacher picks her jaw off the floor, and she realizes quickly you're not one of those karate schools, of course, she becomes an ambassador immediately. He has the experience of sharing something that he's been learning in front of classmates. So now, again, how do I take martial arts and bring it where? Home, school, life. Who cares your kid can do a side kick at your school in front of a board? Whoop-de-doo. I've seen instructors, by the way, they're really good at their school, and then you bring them to another school, and they can't do it. They're nervous because they don't know anybody. I don't really care who's in the audience. I'm going to tell you the same story. It's irrelevant to me. But for a lot of people, they're comfortable in their own little setting. So we have to expand ourselves. So for us, this young man, as you can see, is very happy, and here he is reading his life skill. Can you just think about this for a minute? I don't know. How old do you think he is? Yeah. By the way, another secret, you see his T-shirt? I'm glad Mr. Silverman's gone. They sell T-shirts with some guy kicking on it. What relationship does that have to your business? Don't sell them. Sell stuff that has a relationship to your business. For us, it's life skills. So we have a life skill. Every 8 weeks, we have new life skill T-shirts go out. That should have paid for the event right there if you do it. Okay? So then the right rewards and recognitions. Your kids look up to you. Your teenagers look up to you. If you say thank you, if you write them a good job note, I mean, they just couldn't be any more prouder to get that recognition from you. So there's a lot. I mean, we could all make a list up here of 100 million things that we could do to give recognition, but these are just a couple. The stars, the stripes, the uniforms, whatever you want to do. Okay? But recognition needs to be a part of what's going on. I put this in here because I think this is important. I just want to kind of review it quickly. Student walks into the school. You're the black belt. They're a beginner. What do? They listen to you because of what? Your position. You get a new job and the manager's there and you're a new employee. You listen to the manager. Why? Because they're your boss. Step 2, permission. So now I'm working with the new boss and I realize I don't like him. He's not nice. So I don't give him what? I don't give him permission. I don't take any of his information. I don't learn it. I don't give him permission because I don't like him. We're just not connecting. Same thing in the martial arts school, by the way. Your younger students will be impressed by how many stripes you have on your belt. Your younger students will be impressed by how many boards you break. If you have a 25-year-old guy with a family and a mortgage and you don't miss his pay on Friday, he don't care how many stripes you have on your belt. It changes. You have to change with it. You can't use that to your advantage anymore, right? So the third is production. We could argue in case production would be black belt. We could argue production would be somebody who said yes to become an employee that can produce within the parameters of what you want, delivering the defined excellence, right? Fourth is people development. So you have these young people becoming leaders in their community. They can speak, they go to events, they're raising money. I mean, they're developing. And then the last, obviously, is the final thing, which is Mr. Brazillo becomes a partner at the end of the month. When he creates another partner in a new school, we'll have completed the circle. Think about that. I call it the grandfather, father, son effect. We'll have completed the circle. It's not me opening the next school, it's him. That means our business is going deeper. The strategies are being observed, they're being learned. And it's not about me anymore. It hasn't been about me for a long time. So that's how that development works. Does it make sense? All right. Could you bring that back up? It's quite a screen. All right. I made a video. This is a video format if you're on my coaching page or not. Just curious, who watches me write every day? A couple of you? Okay. I made a video of this, and I'm just going to kind of go through it briefly. Students, white to black. Some people put black belts up here. I don't. I keep them in the student category until they make a decision to become a leader and practice communication and practice. I can't do anything with a physical black belt who can't speak in public. I mean, it's great for them that they can kick and punch and block. That's great, nice. But until they elevate themselves and get the training, there's nothing I can do with them, right? Because they won't fit into our system. So leaders, 3 things, what were they? Stand tall. 3 things, right? They graduate the leadership program, 200 hours. ADD. Fit test, travel and leadership. This is pretty cool, by the way. Because I have 6 locations, they have to take 10 lessons at one of my other mastery schools to complete that category. Because I want moms to see, Mr. Reed's running one of my schools. Mom's like, oh, Mr. Reed's the best instructor ever. Well, then they go to a traveling class to go to Mr. Farjan's school, and they're like, wow, this mastery thing, this guy's good too. Then they go to a young lady like, she's good too. This is not an accident here. And I want people to see the depth of mastery. I don't want them to see one good instructor. So I built it into the leadership program for this reason. Begin and end class 10 times. I think I covered that with you. They have to do that 10 times, get signed off to graduate. And the last one is a community project. I want them out in the community. Collect jackets, give them away. I have my godson's sister is doing a program. It's called Cleats Count. She's a soccer player, Division I player at URI in Rhode Island. So she decided to collect cleats from around the country and then go to Africa and give them to, so Nike just picked her up and is sponsoring her right now. She's like 20 years old. So we don't know when we encourage someone to think about a community project, it might be that. So how do we make martial arts black belt mean something more than, yeah, and I'm sure this has happened to all of you. What do you do for it? I'm a black belt, I'm a martial, oh, I don't want to mess with you. I mean, everybody says that. I think, when I first started martial arts, people would ask me what I did for a living, and I kind of felt bad telling them I taught martial arts. Because it was back in the 90s, and it really didn't really feel like a job. And then I play golf at a private country club. I'm the only martial artist there, by the way. And so I would meet new people. They say, wow, what do you do for work? I teach martial arts. No, really, what do you do? Because they're expecting me to be, based on my ability to present myself and speak about different topics and ideas, that they weren't expecting martial arts. As an industry, we have to change that. Because there's a lot of talent and bright people in what we do. We just have to keep expanding. We can't rest on the sidekick. You need to keep evolving to this different level. So, you like this graduation requirement? So handy, all right? I explained that. I explained that other thing. I want to just touch on a few more things before. So, we've been teaching people how to invest in trade for about 5 years now. And Mr. Silverman touched on it today, and I'm happy to see that someone else in the industry is talking about money, because it's kind of important. And so I met a young man, his name is Sam On, someone mentioned his name already. He's a super quiet guy, very wealthy, one martial arts school, and for the last 35 years he's been saving and investing. So we met about 5 years ago. Mr. Reed introduced me to him, and we started to develop a relationship. And at that time, 2007, I took a wealth course from Dan Kennedy. Someone mentioned his name already. And Dan Kennedy said this: on week 32 of pay period 32 of week 2010, where's that check? And I went, oh my, I have no idea. BMW maybe? Country club? You should know where a piece of your money is from every pay period for the last 20 years of your life. And I didn't know. And that really hit me. And then it occurred to me I had great income, but I didn't have any money. That hurt. So here's a little exercise for you. How many years you been in business? Okay. What's the average gross revenue of your school each year? Whatever that is, let's just say 10. Let's say that you made $400,000 a year for 10 years. Your gross revenue, what's 400,000 times 10?
4 million.
What's left? Mr. Bazzillo and I were talking about it the other day. He's been working with me since he was 18. I've given, I shouldn't say, wrong words. He's earned, through employment, about $1.3 million with me in 10 years. He's 32. And when I gave him that number, he's a very good saver, by the way. His house is already paid for. And when I gave it to him, he looked at me. I said, I've invested a lot of money in you. You're not going anywhere. I'm keeping you forever. That's why I'm making him a partner. Okay, I'm really giving him a great opportunity, but at the same time, I'm really protecting my asset. All right? So I'm going to just give you a couple things that sparked my interest from Mr. Silverman I think you should hear, and this is directly from Sam. So this is regurgitated. It's okay to be young and broke. It's not okay to be simple. Okay? You want to Google something, Google janitor gives away $8 million to the library. I don't know how many years ago it was, but there was a young man, he was a janitor. He amassed $8 million. When he passed away, he gave it to the local library. So for those people who are saying that you're not making enough money to save yet, bullshit. You haven't developed the disciplined mind yet. Okay? You're squandering today money, and you're disregarding the future. That's going to be very painful for you in the future. Very painful. Okay? We don't know what's going to happen with insurance in the future. We don't know what's going to happen with tax. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns right now. So we have to be over-prepared for it, and you should consider that. So number 2, stat that Sam gave us in Chicago. Poor people, I'm going to use the word poor. I'm not making fun of them, I'm just saying financially poor. About 4% of their money is in the stock market. What do you think wealthy people it is? 85% of their money is in the stock market. Why? Because I'm pretty sure that money in Jeffrey Bezos' account, in other words, you buy Amazon, it will be more effective than in Randy Reed's account.
There you go.
Meaning, we're consumers. Amazon's building something. Where do you want your money? In a consumption state or in an earning state? So get it out of your account. I was telling someone this story the other day. I had one of my instructors gave me a $100 token to the casino as a birthday gift about 5 years ago. I came across it. Let's go fast. Came across it, and I took it to staff, brought it to him, and I looked at him. I said, Mr. Bazzillo, do you remember this? He said, yes, sir. I gave it to you for your birthday. He goes, you still have it? I said, of course I do. When money is in this form, what can you do to it? When it's on a $100 token from a casino that's an hour from me, what do I do with it? I hold on to it. So if you think about it, as fast as you can shift money from a spendable thing to something you can't spend for you cookie job people is a smart thing to do. Okay? You understand that mentality? A couple years ago when the market crashed, gold, you heard the commercials, bring your gold to us and we'll give you something awesome like cash. Well, the moment it went to cash, it went in your pocket. The moment it went into your pocket, someone smarter than you got it because you gave it to them. But when it stayed in the gold form, what did it do? It stayed in a valuable form. They made it sound like they were going to give you something special, but you fell for that. Next thing, Mr. Silverman mentioned something about the wealth. Here's Sam's configuration about money. You should know how much you want to have every year when you retire. You want to have $200,000 a year? You want to make $500,000 a year? Okay, depending on your lifestyle. So here's Sam's formula. For every $40,000 of income that you want to have every year, you need $1 million in the portfolio. So if you want $200,000 every year, you need $5 million. And if you do that, the $5 million would probably still, I think that's it's very conservative. We know the market's been great. I think I'm up 34%. January, as everybody knows, was a big month as well. But over the long period of time, 6 to 7% is very conservative. And I asked Sam, I said, why do you do that? He said, I'd rather be surprised with more money than be surprised with less money. Dumb question, I guess. The best time to invest, your first job. Seeing we all missed that. The next best time to invest, today. Okay? Just start. It's important. Don't miss it. And the last thing I want to share with you is his network calculator. Mr. Silverman kind of touched on it a little bit. Here it is. Take all the money that you have. Bonds, cash, portfolio, liquid stocks, not home, not car, not watch. Add it up. Take that number and you put it somewhere that you can see it. My goal every month is to do what? Beat it. It's actually every week. I'm saying month to be nice. So some of you will look at your financial statement once a year or your account and you go, wow, my 401k did good. You need to be a little more in tune to it than that. And you need to pay a little more attention to it than that. All right? So I have some private clients that are here. And what do we do every Friday? We cut. So I'm going to give you a secret right now. Every Friday, we cut. Now, I used to do this monthly, but I do it weekly now. Mr. Blease and I talked about this out in the lake, in the ocean the other day, hanging out. Every Friday, today, I go to my accounts. For me, it's my business accounts, and I don't cut from my personal. I go to the first count, and if it has $20,000 in it, I take 10%. Take $2,000, put it in my account. Go to the next school, take 10%, put it in my account. 10%. I have 6 locations. 10%, 10%, 10%. Take the money, transfer it to Fidelity. 52 times a year. What will happen if you do that every Friday for 52 times? 104 times? What would happen after 10 years? What I'm sharing with you, I woke up. I realized I had great income, I had no money. I had nice cars. Some of you know I'm a pilot, I have a beautiful airplane, I have property up north, I ski every weekend, I have a great lifestyle. I'm a 50-50 guy. 50% of my money I enjoy, 50% of my money I invest. Sam's a 95-5 guy, okay? Ramen, noodle, and rice until the weekend, and he cooks. But he invests everything. That's why he's become so wealthy. You have to make a decision for you what your balance looks like. For me, it's 50-50. I don't know what it is for you, and I'm calculating my net worth as I know what my number is, and I'm now using my daughter, who's 20 months old. My numbers are going to match her age. I won't get into that, but I'm keeping up with her growth, and I'm using it as my motivation. Not that I need it anymore. I'm super disciplined with my money now, but I will tell you, it takes time. It takes time to get in the rhythm. It takes time to get in the mindset. Miss Schumann, we had big hugs the other day. She goes, I heard you 3 years ago, and then I did it, and then I did it, and this year I did it. Like, for me, it was the same thing. By about the 3rd year, the V10 kicked in. I got it. And I was like, all full steam ahead. So, anyhow, I'm getting the hat and then feel like a hook coming over here. So, those 4 things I just wanted to share with you from a wealth perspective. I wanted to talk about leadership today because I wanted you to have something that was valuable. How do you take a child, make them more confident? We all say we do. I just gave you a little training program that you can actually do it. Give them the right incentive, give them the right coaching. Whatever you put your attention on is what grows. So think about triangulation. Stop judging the punch. How about judge the tone? How about judge the body language? How about get people more in tune to that? Because I'm going to tell you that's more invaluable than everything you teach. And I know it kills us to say that, but when my Jeet Kune Do instructor comes in, I said, Sifu, if you teach me another way to punch someone in the face, I'm leaving. I'm beyond that. I want more, right? Notice I didn't stand you up and rah-rah you today. You guys are school owners. You should come with batteries, all right? My job is not to motivate you. Okay, you should come self-motivated. We all need to be that because we run businesses. All right, questions about leadership. Thank you, guys. Thank you.